today we will discuss about the estimation method for bilirubin. Bilirubin estimation method. Okay. And you will practice bilirubin estimation today itself. So today I will discuss first and then you will go to the practical room and practice. Okay. So what is bilirubin? Waste product, not waste product, end product of heme metabolism. And where it is produced? In which system? Where? Reticuloendothelial system. Okay. Very good. So the freshly prepared bilirubin is, what is the characteristic of that bilirubin which is just produced? Unconjugated, and it is insoluble. So how is it transported? So it is bound with albumin and transported to finally to liver for conjugation. Okay, so what is the conjugation process? What is the conjugation process? What happens in conjugation? Glucuronic acid. So unconjugated bilirubin binds with glucuronic acid and that is conjugation. Okay, monoglucuronides are produced. Bilirubin monoglucuronides are produced. So now conjugated bilirubin is formed and this bilirubin is water soluble. So what happens next to this bilirubin? Conjugated bilirubin? What happens? Bakira, conjugated bilirubin, it is excreted in before coming to gastrointestinal tract, gallbladder. It is stored in gallbladder and formation of bile salts and bile pigments. So bile is produced from conjugated bilirubin and then it is excreted in our duodenum. What is the role of bile salt or bile pigment? So, digestion and absorption of fats, dietary fats, right? And next, after fat absorption digestion, the remaining part of bilirubin is converted into urobilinogen and stercobilinogen. Okay. Fine. So this is the cycle of bilirubin metabolism from production to excretion. Clear? So now we have already discussed the clinical interpretation previously. So in case of what is the normal reference range of bilirubin? So bilirubin can be divided into two parts, total bilirubin and direct bilirubin. Direct bilirubin means the conjugated bilirubin. So conjugated bilirubin level is 0 to 0.2. It is very less found in blood. Right? Direct bilirubin or conjugated bilirubin found in very less amount in blood. It is 0 to 0.2 milligram per dl. But total bilirubin is 0.2 to 1.2 milligram per dl. Okay. So this is the normal reference range. Now what is total bilirubin? Total bilirubin is conjugated bilirubin plus unconjugated bilirubin. So the remaining part will be unconjugated bilirubin, that is 0.3 to 0.8. Clear? All the bilirubin parameters and their reference range clear? Total bilirubin 0.2 to A. Hello. So total bilirubin reference range is 0.2 to 1.2 milligram per dl. Remember the unit, milligram per dl. Direct bilirubin 0 to 0.2 milligram per dl and indirect is 3 to 0.8. Okay, fine. Now we will estimate bilirubin by which method? Diazo method. Okay. So the name of the method is Diazo method. Introduction, clear? Everyone, what to write in the introduction part? Clear? Production, transportation, conjugation, excretion, use. Okay. Now method is diazo method. So what is the principle of diazo method? Generally, direct bilirubin or conjugated bilirubin reacts with diazo compounds. Okay, diazo compounds are nitrogenous compounds. Okay, so diazo mean two azo compounds are linked. Okay, so diazo compound reacting with bilirubin will form azobilirubin in acidic medium, and this is a spontaneous reaction for direct bilirubin or conjugated bilirubin. Okay, so the principle for this test is direct bilirubin spontaneously reacts with diazo compounds. Here it is diazotized sulfanilic acid. Okay, in our estimation method, diazo estimation method, we are using diazotized sulfanilic acid in the reagents. Okay, and it will react in acidic medium to produce azobilirubin, which is pink to purple in color. Generally, bilirubin is which colored compound? Yellowish. Okay, yellow compound, yellow color pigment. Now, this is a spontaneous reaction. So, we can measure only conjugated bilirubin part by this reaction. How to measure the indirect part or unconjugated part? We have to solubilize the unconjugated part to make it react with the diazo compound. So, we have to use a surfactant. In the second step, for total bilirubin estimation, what happens? The indirect part with the effect of surfactant will now react with diazo compound. So, the insoluble part, that is indirect bilirubin or unconjugated bilirubin, how to make them solubilize or how to solubilize them? By adding surfactant. Okay, so surfactant will make the indirect part soluble and the further reaction with diazo compound will go on. Okay? So by adding surfactant we will get not the indirect part but the total bilirubin part, because direct bilirubin was already reacting with the diazo compound. Now the remaining indirect part is also reacting by surfactant, by adding surfactant. So here the color of azobilirubin will be directly proportionate to total bilirubin. Clear? So in the second part, second reaction for total bilirubin estimation, first reaction was for direct bilirubin or conjugated bilirubin estimation, and that is why the unconjugated part is known as indirect bilirubin, because it does not react directly with diazo reactive compounds. We have to use a surfactant to make it run the reaction. Okay, clear? That is why it is known as indirect. Otherwise, we can call it conjugated or unconjugated. But why direct and indirect? Direct bilirubin reacts directly with diazo compounds, whereas indirect bilirubin cannot react directly. It needs surfactant to proceed. Okay, boja geche, clear? Now the surfactant we use is DMSO. Most commonly, what is DMSO? Dimethyl sulfoxide. Okay, so dimethyl sulfoxide is the most commonly used surfactant that is used for estimation of total bilirubin. Okay, clear? So the principle is clear to everyone. Now when we get the azobilirubin pink or purple, light purple colored complex, we measure it at 546 nanometer filter. So the filter used here is 546 nanometer. Clear? Now method principle is done. Next comes the equipments. You all know what are the equipments we use: pipette, tip, test tube, reagent, semi-auto analyzer or colorimeter, whatever is provided. Fine. Now coming to the reagents. In total bilirubin and direct bilirubin estimation diazo method, 3 different reagents are provided in 3 different bottles: R1, R2 and R3. So R1 is provided for total bilirubin estimation. So now from the reaction of total bilirubin estimation, what are the compounds we need in a reagent? For total bilirubin estimation, this bilirubin comes from the sample serum. This bilirubin comes from sample serum or test sample. Now everything else is required for estimation in the reagent. So for total bilirubin estimation, what are the compounds we need in a reagent? First of all, diazo compound. Second, surfactant and acidic medium, acidic buffer. So there is R1, R2 and R3. In R1, there will be, for total bilirubin estimation, it is R1. Write down reagents R1, R2 and R3. R1 is for total bilirubin estimation, R2 is for direct bilirubin estimation, R3 used in both. ঠিক আছে? Why R3 is used in both? আমি আগে বলে দিচ্ছি, because it contains sodium nitrite. The nitrogen compound which will make the diazo compound is in R3. Okay, fine. So what is in R1? First of all, surfactant. R1 for total bilirubin estimation contains surfactant, HCl and sulfonilic acid. Surfactant, HCl for acidic medium and sulfonilic acid, not diazotized sulfonilic acid. See, in R1 it is only sulfonilic acid. In R3 there is sodium nitrite. Sodium nitrite will react with sulfonilic acid to produce diazotized sulfonilic acid. So what difference will be in R1 and R2? No surfactant will be there in R2. So R2 contains only HCl and sulfonilic acid. Clear? R2 is for direct bilirubin estimation and it contains HCl and sulfonilic acid, not surfactant. Clear? So reagent clear everyone? R1, R2 and R3. Now coming to the procedure. Now the procedure, we can see here for total bilirubin we have used R1 and R3 and sample. For direct bilirubin R2, R3 and sample. Now in all other tests we have always taken 3 test tubes, one for test, one for blank, one for standard. Here no standard solution is provided. Okay, so we won't take the test tube for standard. Now coming to blank. In other tests we were using distilled water as blank, but here the serum is not equivalent to distilled water, so we will not use distilled water as blank. If at all blank solution blank is required to be tested, so we have to take a serum blank. Okay, so a solution that is more or less similar to serum, normal serum, to see the if there is any interfering substances or interfering reaction going on at the same time. Okay, but that is also escaped. Okay, here we will not use the serum blank also. So we will take only one test tube, that is test tube. Okay, so there we will use R1 for 1000 microliter, R2 of 20 microliter and test sample, the sample which we have to check the bilirubin for 50 microliter. Clear? And this is for total bilirubin estimation. So for total bilirubin reagent was R1 and R3, 1020 microliter, sample of 50 microliter. Clear? For direct bilirubin we will have to take R2, R3 and sample. R2 volume will be same 1000, but R3 volume is less, 10. Why? Because direct bilirubin is also very less. So R3 is 10 and sample is same, 50 microliter. Now we have to incubate for 5 minutes at room temperature and then we have to measure the ODT. we will get two different ODs, one for total bilirubin and one for direct bilirubin. Now how to calculate if concentration of standard is not provided? So we already know the equation for calculation of concentration of test, that is OD test minus OD blank divided by OD standard minus OD blank into concentration of standard. Now CS is given, now the ODB, ODS, all these things are given. So what is given, what is provided, that is factor, and this part is the factor CS by ODS minus ODB. This is the factor, that is pre-calculated value of concentration of standard divided by OD standard minus OD blank. Okay, and as we are not using any blank, so we can omit this part also. Okay, so factors, what are the factors given? For total bilirubin, the factor is 21 and for direct bilirubin, it is 12. So now when we get the ODT of total bilirubin, we have to multiply it by 21 to get the concentration of total bilirubin. When we get ODT of direct bilirubin, we have to multiply it with the factor 12 to get the concentration of direct bilirubin. Is it clear? The calculation part here is a little bit different. We don't have the concentration of standard, we don't have ODS, that is why what is provided? Factor. Okay, the factor, if asked what is a factor in bilirubin estimation, so it is concentration divided by ODS minus ODB. Okay, and the values are for total bilirubin, it is 21 in this literature, this kit, this reagent provided right now. It may vary with different reagent companies and manufacturer. Okay, so for total bilirubin it is 21, for direct bilirubin it is 12. We have to multiply the ODT with it to get the individual concentration. Clear? And the unit will be milligram per DL. Right? For total and for direct both, milligram per DL. Now coming to the last part, that is clinical interpretation. So after getting a result, you have to see whether the result is in normal range or high or low. So we already know the conditions where what is it called when the bilirubin level is high? Hyperbilirubinemia. And does it have any other name? The clinical condition? Jaundice. So beyond which value we may call it jaundice? More than 2 milligram per DL, along with other clinical symptoms like yellowish discoloration of skin, sclera, and nausea, vomiting, anorexia. Okay. Okay, now what are the types of jaundice? You all know, we just have to discuss it in brief. What are the causes and types of jaundice? So there are main 3 types of jaundice: pre-hepatic, hepatic and post-hepatic. Causes of pre-hepatic jaundice? Hemolytic, mostly hemolytic causes. So how to differentiate between pre-hepatic and post-hepatic? By first of all, you have to look at the bilirubin value to say whether it is jaundice or not. We have to see whether the total bilirubin is more than 2 or not. Right? In pre-hepatic jaundice, total bilirubin might be more than 2, but in which part of total bilirubin will increase more? Unconjugated. So indirect bilirubin part will be raised more. Right? In case of hepatic jaundice, what will happen? Both can rise up to variant level, and along with it, which part will be most given most importance? Liver enzymes. Right? For hepatitis, we have to check whether the liver enzymes are raised or not. So PT, SGOT will be high. And in case of post-hepatic jaundice, so what are the causes of hepatic jaundice? What could be the causes of hepatic jaundice? Before going to cirrhosis, there will be steps, তাই না? Any infection, আগে infection মনে পড়ছে না তোদের? তোরা এত সিরিয়াস কেন? Why directly cancer? Why directly cirrhosis? একটা stage আছে তো, disease has stages. So start with benign stages. Hepatitis, infection, liver infection. So these are the most common causes. Hepatitis, hepatic jaundice is most commonly caused by hepatitis. Then it can proceed with further grades of liver damage. Right? So cirrhosis might lead to hepatic jaundice. Okay. Then হতেই পারে। So if remain untreated, like hep B, hep C, these hepatitis, they don't have treatment, proper treatment, so it will lead to alcoholic liver disease, will also lead to hepatic jaundice. Okay, now post-hepatic. What are the causes of post-hepatic jaundice? Obstruction. So obstruction of the bile duct or common bile duct, hepatic duct, gallbladder stones, pancreatic carcinoma, head of pancreas carcinoma, any growth from the common bile duct, okay, anything. So these are the causes of post-hepatic jaundice. So what will be the finding in post-hepatic jaundice? Conjugated bilirubin or direct bilirubin will be increased much more than the indirect bilirubin. And what else? Which enzyme will also be increased? ALP, alkaline phosphatase, will also be increased in comparison to the liver enzymes. Liver enzymes will also may rise because the backflow of bile will irritate and it may lead to some kind of increase in liver enzymes. Okay, but mostly the demarcating factor for hepatic and post-hepatic will be the, first of all, the amount of direct bilirubin. So in post-hepatic, direct bilirubin will be majorly increased and ALP will be 10 to 12 times higher. Okay, whereas in hepatic jaundice, the liver enzymes will be raised 8 to 10 times. ঠিক আছে? Clear? বুঝে গেছে? Okay, now what is the condition called where there is low bilirubin? Hypobilirubinemia. So hypobilirubinemia is very rare condition, okay, not seen very commonly, and there are few cases where it may be seen, like in which cases hypobilirubinemia can be seen? Anemia, but not hemolytic anemia, because hemolytic anemia will lead to hemolysis and there will be increase in unconjugated bilirubin in hemolytic. But in case of iron deficiency anemia, chronic iron deficiency anemia, or and in case of bone marrow failure, where there is production of very less amount of RBC or blood cells, there will be very less production of হতেই পারে আর কি হতে পারে? Splenomegaly হলে তো more rapid destruction হবে. When there is more rapid destruction, there will be splenomegaly, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, etc. Anything related to transportation? So hypoalbuminemia can also be associated with hypobilirubinemia when there is no medium to transport the unconjugated bilirubin. So it will not be transported in the blood itself. Okay, clear? বোঝা গেছে? তাহলে overall bilirubin estimation method we have discussed diazo method for estimation of total bilirubin and direct bilirubin. So for direct bilirubin, the reaction runs spontaneously with diazotized compounds in acidic medium to produce azobilirubin, which is pink or purple in color. And for total bilirubin estimation, we have to make the indirect part or unconjugated part solubilized by adding surfactant, and most commonly used surfactant is DMS or dimethyl sulfoxide. So the total amount of bilirubin will then react with diazotized sulfonilic acid to produce azobilirubin. Okay, and the reagents you have to remember very carefully that R1 is for total bilirubin, R2 is for direct bilirubin, R3 is used in both the cases. Okay, now the amount or the procedured volume, that is R1 1000, R3 20, and sample is 50 microliter, all in microliter. For direct bilirubin 1000, 20 and 1000, 10 and 50 microliter. We have to incubate for 5 minutes at room temperature, and then we have to measure at 546 nanometer. Clear? And one more thing, tricky thing, that is factor is given, no CS is given, no concentration of standard is given, factor is given. So for total bilirubin, we have to multiply the factor with the ODT. Okay, so for factor is 21 for total bilirubin, for direct it is 12. So by the calculation, by multiplying the factors with ODT, we will get the result, and from that result we can say whether the report is normal or not. Okay, and for the normal range, it is total bilirubin is 0.22, total bilirubin is 0.2 to 1.2 milligram per dl, direct bilirubin 0 to 0.2 milligram per dl, and indirect bilirubin 0.3 to 0.8 milligram per dl. Clear everything?